This Bronco was so unique because one, it was a birthday present to myself for 1970, the year I was born. It's a 70 original paint, and I always wanted a Baja Bronco. I wanted something that really came from that original heritage of the Bronco. Built in the vintage, raced in the vintage era, and just a time capsule. You know, I found it on Facebook. It was a really unique story. A gentleman was selling the vehicle, had cancer, and his kids didn't want the vehicle and didn't know how to sell the vehicle. So we reached out to him pretty quickly, took a trip to Oregon and a deal to buy the Bronco. We had grand plans to bring it home in November, driving it from Oregon, the north route, to go through Glacier in Montana and drive it back. We made it 6-8 hours before we blew an oil line and lost the oil pressure. And since it's got the cockpit side and then the navigator side, I couldn't tell in the middle of the night. I actually had oil that spewed up on the windshield, thought it was mud, and well, we lost the first motor. Yeah, that's what we did. Ended up with a U-Haul trailer and driving it home. Still came through Glacier though. It was built for Baja, and it has immense travel. It has beadlock wheels. It has air locker front and rear. It has an air horn. It was built to run Baja. And so we run it on the street. It is street legal. It is run often on the street as well as off-road. And the quirks are, it's really meant for the off-road, and it's not really meant for the highway. So driving down the interstate, it doesn't feel like a feeling of comfort. The back end is always swaying around because it has this huge travel meant to go over the hills of Baja or the trails. And so it's an unsettling feeling going down the interstate, but we'll drive it on all roads at all times. So why keep a vehicle like this as it was in the 70s or the 80s? It's all about authenticity for me. I love taking these vehicles, using the original race seats. I'll even use the original race harnesses so long as they're still good and we can get in and out of the harness easily. I just like to drive the vehicle as a time capsule and run it the way it was run back in the day. And I don't know, it's just a feeling of authenticity. So much of the industry has gone to restoring them and providing a vehicle that's repainted, refurbished, electronic fuel injection. And I want to keep some of this originality, that original spirit of the Bronco. We build resto mods every day, and I love those vehicles. They're great solutions for our customers. But I also really enjoy personally to maintain that element, that original thread, back to the unrestored, all stock Bronco to the original Baja like this. They're being lost every day to being turned into resto mods. I want to keep a few just the way they were. It's loud, it's fast, and it's not pleasant. So it's not a resto mod. It's not easy to drive. It's not easy to live with. We do pull a camper with it, and we'll go to events like Super Celebration, pulling a small Outlander camper. We made the harnesses so we can get in and out because that wasn't great originally. Two, we put a new motor into it. It's a 427 4-bolt main 351 Windsor, and it is 427 cubic inch now. So we're producing over 500 foot-pounds of torque, and it is ready for the trail. A complete race prep. So from front to back, we've gone through all the items, bearings and brakes and differential, and made sure that it's ready. But other than that, it's just as it raced last time it was a Baja. This vehicle is really a permanent part of the collection. Have no plans to sell it, no plans to modify it beyond what we've done to maintain its originality, plus give it a lot more power. This is it. We'll keep it just like this. We'll use it every year. Actually start and run it once a week. Drive it even in the middle of winter. Bundled up in 32-degree weather this past winter and ran it down the trail just to get some time behind the wheel on it. So this is a permanent part of the collection, a part of many others that are a permanent part of the collection that won't be sold. My kids will be instructed not to sell this vehicle, keep it a part of the trust. This is the personal connection for me, yes. This is, I love vintage racing. I race a vintage race car. I love the Bronco. I love the adventure. It's so much fun to explore the capabilities of the car. So what's next for this thing? It's continue to expand how far I drive it and how far I push it to see where its envelope of capabilities are. Right now, this is way more capable than I am as a driver off-road. And so I'm learning how to become a better off-road driver, and that's a part of the journey for me. Super Celebration is so important to me because this is where my wife and I went originally to kind of see what's going on with the whole Bronco world. And I like Bronco. She didn't really have an appreciation yet. I don't think she really does still. But this Bronco really represents the epitome of what vehicles like Super Celebration brings out. Brings out the vehicles that are only preserved and not restored. Brings out the vehicles that are restored by the owners, but maybe the original owner. And so there's always a story with these vehicles. This vehicle has lots of great stories from the original owner. Old VHS tapes with this thing running at speed at Baja. And so, I don't know, Super Celebration is one of those events where it brings out restored and original vehicles, and everybody comes together to talk about Bronco stories, take them out on Tail of the Dragon, take them out on the off-road trails, and use the Broncos the way they're meant to be used.